Dear students, today the experiment for in our automobile electrical system. Okay, we study an important thing, that is the alternator and charging system. The alternator is the heart of the whole electrical system. So first of all, let's study about a small introduction about the alternator. So it's normally the alternator is before, in the old times, the DC generator used instead of alternator. Nowadays we call the it as a alternator. So because of the benefits of this alternator is now it's improve its efficiency than the generator, and it's very smaller and lighter to compare with the old generator. Uh, the special thing is, in the alternator also produce the more output during idle. In the idle time, there is a, that means the load condition. The alternator pulley is not rotated well because the speed is very low. So that time also the alternator give the more output. So how the let's study about the construction of this alternator. The normally in the alternator is here the rotor is as a spinning magnetic field, and the stator is stationary and the rotor is rotates. Okay. So as the magnetic field rotates, it induces current in the output stator windings. So this is the parts of the alternator. So it's better to we study animation. You can get a clear idea. So here the magnetic field is rotate and the wire is stationary. So here the main part, this is the rotor. So here you can see this type of rotor we call the salient pole rotor. So here you can see these are the coil. So because of this arrangement, the magnetic field is produced, because you can see here is south north, so that the magnetic flux is from south to north, like this. Okay, so this is a rotating magnetic field. This is the armature or stator. So the stator is stationary, the rotor is rotating inside of this stator. So here the engine, this pulley is connected directly with the engine, okay, or prime mover. So let's see only four salient fold. Okay, here is a simple form of four salient form. So these are the coil windings. So you can see how the direction is changed. Okay, the current input is here and output is there. So the current is flow like this, and here also is going like this and rotate like and go. So according to that, the direction, the current direction change. Okay, that means here you can see this direction and that coil direction are opposite. That's why the south and north poles are obtained like this. Okay, so there are four magnetic flows connect each other. So now this is the stator winding. So you can see here in the symbol 1 stator windings, in this area, okay, when it's rotate, in the side is, okay, north and south, okay, is going to change here north and south. According to that, there are some EMF, okay, electromagnetic force, okay, induced here. That means AC current, okay, AC current induced here, okay. That's why because of this variation, the two direction, the current direction also change. That's why the AC current come like this, okay, because of the changing magnetic field. So the current is induced, you can see, that's why here the alternating current, AC current is produced because of the changing characteristics of this pole. So here there is a general equation. We know the frequency means hertz. What is the frequency? That means in the seconds how much, okay, that means this is so this is the one cycle, okay, we call this a one cycle. How the one cycle is obtained, okay, when the half rotation of this rotor here, the one cycle of this AC current obtained. So here in the full rotation it complete like this, okay. So here the frequency means this is one cycle or two cycle per second. We calculate the frequency per second. So the frequency is connected with the, okay, this common equation. That means the, okay, the N means RPM. RPM means the rotational speed of this rotor, and the P means number of poles. Here total 4 poles, okay. So here the 120 is a constant. So if we increase the frequency, what going to do? One thing is we have to increase the rotational speed of this rotor. Otherwise we have to increase the poles, number of poles on the rotor. So now first here that's only one coil winding is there, stator. Now is connected 3 coil windings, okay. So normally we call the 3-phase current, okay. We know the 3-phase current. So there is only one, okay. That means this is one, okay, I will explain later. So there are 3 at the same time 3 amount of AC current produced here because of 3 different stator windings. So that's called the 3-phase current. So here this is star connected, okay. The arrangement of these coil windings in the stator we call the star connector. So now you can see in the 3, so we can increase the output of 3 stator winding. And the main thing, okay, if we get for an example 60 frequency, okay, the 4 poles of this rotor, we have to give the 1800 RPM to this rotor. So it's very complex because the speed is very high, and every time we gonna give this much of speed. So the another option is we can, okay, the another thing, if we rotate the high speed, what will happen? The centrifugal force, you know, in the circle, okay, if you travel in that circle, there is a force applied, the outside, that is called centrifugal force. So because of this centrifugal force is rotate very high, this may the durability of this rotor is reduced. Okay. So however, we cannot run this rotor by high speed. So instead of, we have to increase the number of poles. Okay. That's why the poles. Okay. Now if we increase these poles around 20, okay, before we need to 1800 rpm. Okay. Now we increase the number of poles around, I think, 20. So if we increase 20, what will happen? The 1800 rpm going to reduce as 120 to 400. Okay. So that's why the rotor has much amount of poles. So here in the conductor of this pole, okay, this is have kind of this arrangement. Okay. Because of this magnetic flux, and other thing, this arrangement is mainly is avoid the eddy current. Eddy current means, okay, in the when the magnetic, okay, the magnetic field, there are kind of current is increased. Normally we call this eddy current. Okay, that a current is introduced by the magnetic field. So eddy current loss means there are some loss. Okay, normally in this kind of arrangement, okay, the eddy current going to loss. So in the output current, if the eddy current is lost, what will happen? The stator induced current also going to reduce. That's why this kind of construction need to this core, okay, to reduce the eddy current loss. So now you can see the stator, this cap lot of so now we study the another part, the slip rings. What is slip rings? Okay. So normally we have to give the supply current to this, okay, windings, coil windings of this rotor. So here the engine, okay, is connect with the engine pulley. So this shaft also rotate. Okay. Here also rotate. But so in the point is, okay, going to rotate. Okay. How we give a constant electricity supply. Okay. So that's why the supply is gives like this. Okay, the current is gives like this. Okay, so here this is brush. Okay, this is slip rings. So here the slip ring is, okay, nearly connect with or touch with this shaft. Okay, the slip rings, and the brush here, this part is like a flexible, okay, like a switch. Okay, so the main connection is give to this brush. The brush connected, okay, conduct the electricity by touching, okay, to these slip rings. Okay, so this is flexible. If any vibration, this, okay, switch move like this. Okay, it's absorb the vibration. So it's past the slip rings, and slip rings, okay, slip rings then give the supply to this rotor. So that means you can see that this, okay, so here the plus minus is connect with the slip rings. The slip rings also rotate. Okay, the brush is steady. Okay, by touching the slip rings, the brush transform the electricity. So there are some DC generator also there, but in our alternator we give the supply from the battery. Okay. I saw another. Okay. So the main thing I have to tell how this battery is charged by this alternator. Okay. So this is a starter motor, battery, alternator. There are some accessories or load here. So when we start the vehicle, we need a high power, electricity power to start operate this starter motor. Okay. So the everything's are connected with the ground. Okay. Then the normal current supply, this is a plus point, that's a minus. So it gives the supply to bulb or starter motor. Okay. Okay, it gives the current to starter motor. Okay. So now in the battery is going to discharge. Okay. So the alternator need to give the charging current. So now the alternator give the current. So the opposite direction. Okay. So the every part must complete. That means here also grounded in the vehicle metal parts. Here also grounded. So this part is accomplished by, okay, the charging is going to like this, and then the both are grounds. Okay. So there is a complete circle. Okay. So here when it's work, the accessories, so it's going the current like this, and the ground also connect with that grounds, because all are the ground means also connect each other. Okay. So when alternator charge, the current going this direction. Okay. Is give the accessories, the going current goes like this. So now is the alternator. So that's the pulley is connected with the belt. Okay. So there's a shaft. There's a, okay. This is a front bracket. This is a rear bracket. We can remove the nuts and we can separate each brackets. Okay. Oh, here this is the simple 3-terminal design. So now I have to tell one thing. Okay, there are main 3 terminals here. Okay, for the alternator. What means battery? B terminal. B terminal means is give the discharge current through this line. Okay, to charge the battery. The second is voltage sense. That means how this current is flow, how it's identify the battery need to charge or not. Okay, because of this voltage sense. Okay, we know there's a voltage difference. Okay, if the voltage is, okay, lower than, okay, lower than here. Okay, this is A, this is B. That means the B voltage is lower than A. What will happen? The current flow to the lower voltage side. Okay. So this is a voltage sense, is sense the voltage of this battery. And the field. The field means, okay, first we have to, when we, okay, when we need the alternator in the working condition of this vehicle, we need the alternator to charge the battery. Okay. So this field means first we have to on the vehicle. Okay, here on the vehicle a small amount of current going to this alternator for the rotor current. Okay, we need some amount of current to flow through the across the rotor. Okay, because of the stator windings, the discharge current. Okay, this current is obtained by this flow of this rotor. Okay, so the rotor is give the initial rotor current. That means is this okay, this field here, this is not give the current to continuously. Okay, that means after this charge current is produced, some amount of current is give here. Okay, continuously. So this is only for starting. When you start the vehicle, though, that time alternator don't have any charging current here. Okay, first we have to give a current here, the rotor, then is produce the induced current in the stator. So when we start the ignition switch, okay, the small amount current of starting current gives to rotor, then is alternator is going to work. So then in the charging current, a small part of charging current, okay, main current is going to charge the battery, a small part of current again supply to this rotor. So that time we don't need this field current. So these are the main three important terminals of this alternator. So on the rear side of the alternator, there are some main two parts. Okay, already we study about the slip rings and brush for the current supply to rotor. Here the rectifier and regulator. Okay. So we study one by one, right? So this is a stator, but this stator, that is rotor, but here the rotor is different. Okay. Here you can see in the rotor is different. Before we study the previous animation, that is a salient pole type of rotor, but here the design is different. Okay, that means here we call the claw falls type of rotor. So here the north south like this, north south. Okay, the every core are north and south. So here you can see the coil windings of this stator. So this is a three phase. You can see in the out of these three, 1, 2, 3, and here this is the neutral. Okay, it's a neutral point. Okay, this is a stator coil. So three coils. So three out neutral point. So this is like a star configuration, the design of this coil. So rectifier. So what is the work of this rectifier? So here you can see this rectifier and regulator. The rectifier have diode trio. So these are slip rings. We already studied about the slip rings. So this kind of brush, okay. I already told these things. Okay. This input supply to this rotor coil winding, and this is the out. Okay. Because of this current flowing, the magnetic field is okay created around the rotor. So now you can see north south. Okay, these are iron poles. Okay, so that's electromagnetic field. So now these are the stator three phase. So now you can have three color, the three yellow, red, blue. So the three AC currents of these three phase coil. Okay. So now it's straightly connected to the rectifier. Okay, the rectifier have diode with the rectifier. Right. Before I have to tell about the work of this diode. Okay. By the rectifier means the rectifier, the normally battery, we can charge the battery, and the battery also use the direct DC current. Okay. DC current. So now this is AC. We cannot straightly, we cannot give the supply to this battery. Okay. Because this is the AC current. The battery and other accessories use the DC current. So, but what is the AC current? AC current means like this. Okay. This is the AC current. Okay. So this is so there are three currents there, like, okay, one is like this, for an example, another is like, okay, yellow, is like, okay, something. So the three color means there are three, okay, there are three phase current. So I show the difference, okay, by the color. So this is the three phase current. So after I show the one current, okay, that is easy, the green. After this, okay, diode, okay, is going to transform or convert the DC current, okay. So DC current means like this, okay. The everything, oh, the rows, okay, yellow, all are come like this, okay. After the diode, okay, is flowing through the diode, it changed only the positive. So this is come to like this. But here there is a gap. So this is filled up by the capacitor. There is a capacitor used here. The capacitor store and give the current. So then it's come like this, okay. So finally the current is like, okay. That means I should is come like this, okay. So in the every three phase also changes to DC current, okay. That is a main word of this rectifier, okay. Now we study about another part, regulator, okay. So there's a, okay, you just think that alternator is straightly connect with the, okay, engine, okay. So in the engine speed is high, what will happen? The alternator rotor speed is also high. So here what will happen? The charging output voltage, okay, voltage is high, voltage and current should be high because of the higher rotation. But when we charge the battery, okay, normally the 14 volt, this sometimes it come to 25 volt, okay. This kind of volt, okay, damage the battery, okay. So if the in the any condition, the slower or faster condition, okay, we have to give the accurate voltage, okay. So the regulator means the whatever condition, the regulator, that means the word of regulate, okay, regulator supply current of this, okay, here, okay, I will explain you. So what will happen? If the rotates is high, okay, the rotation is high, the regulator give the current, okay. The current is, the regulator reduce the supply current to this rotor, okay. However, the output we have to balance, okay. If the, in the ideal condition, okay, the engine is rotate very slow, so it is also rotate very slow. That time the regulator give the much current to produce a balance or average charging value. So the regulator is connected. No, the regulator know the engine load, the how much battery charge we need, the engine load, everything the regulator know, okay. So the regulator is control the supply current flow, okay. Here you can see the voltage sensor. This is a voltage sensor also connect with the regulator. So now you can see, I already told, okay, the regulator give the supply, okay, through the slip rings, and there is a 3-phase, okay, a 3-phase current going to through this rectifier. So the rectifier then, okay, runs on to DC current. The DC current supply is going to battery, okay. So this is a voltage sense within the battery. So a small amount of current, okay, there is a small amount of current, going through this regulator. Regulator control the current, amount of the current, and this current is supplied to the rotor, okay. So then is the output current from the rotor is again going to this diode, okay, is to flow like this, a complete circle. So before I told this supply current, before we need to, when we own the vehicle, we have to give a supply current from the battery, okay. We have to give a supply current from the battery here, then no need to give the current more, okay. Further we don't need to give the current. This small amount of current from this rectifier gives, okay, continuously. So now you can see this is the whole function inside or outside of this alternator, okay. Okay, now we again return to our left seat. So these things okay, claw faults, slip rings, field windings, I explain. So output stator core, this no 3-phase current, okay, I told. Rectifier, okay. Here we can see 2 types of rectifier, okay. That means this is the star or Y, okay. Y type of okay, that means a 3-phase circuit of the stator. So this is a Y type stator, and here delta type of stator. So here that's a rectifier. I mean the AC current is transform convert to DC current. So there are 6 diode, okay. Here battery. So let's see how it works, okay. So here you can see 3-phase, okay. 3-phase means here in the AC current, okay, should be produced. So that means the plus minus, now it is plus minus, okay. Then what will happen? The current direction is changed, again it changed to here plus, okay, here plus, here minus, okay. The both are changed, sometimes it's minus plus, plus minus. So it's depend on the AC current, okay. The produced AC current direction is different, so that's why the every time it's changed to the plus minus is not a stationary, it may change. Oh, okay. So there are 6 diode. For an example, now this is plus, okay. That means the current only flow. We already know the diode. Diode is allow the electricity in one-way direction, okay. That means this direction is allow, the opposite direction it can allow, okay. So here that is plus. That means the current flow like this, okay. To the battery, okay. Then you can see there we need to have complete circle, okay. then it's come to here. So this is plus, then it's going to minus direction. Where is the minus? So here it is plus, okay. So it's going to this minus. So the path is going like this. Minus, okay. Here plus to minus. The one time, okay. At the same time, next what will happen? There is another current, okay. This is also plus. Let's come like this. Is going to battery. Again, only here is the minus, okay. So here also the same path. It is also going to minus, okay. Then now you know, okay. Now this is plus. Now it's going to minus because of the AC current, okay. Here it's plus minus. Here is the minus plus something. Okay. Now let's see where the current flow. The plus, okay. The current is flow like this. Come here, okay. This come like this, for example. Then it's come to where it's going to. Here is it can go to here or here. There's a two ways, okay. First is go to like this, okay. Then next this same also going to here also it can go to the second time, okay. So continuously you can see the same time the two diodes are working, okay. This diode and this diode first time, the second time also this diode second time, okay. Second time this diodes also working, other time here, sorry, this diode, okay. Okay, so this is like this, okay. So on the one time the two diodes are working, the current flow through the two diodes, okay. Because of this flow, finally the current is converted to DC. Here also only arrangement is different, but here this is a neutral point, okay. Here the plus minus also same as the plus minus, this is also flow like this, okay. Like this or something. It's going to plus to minus. At the same time, the two lines, okay. One plus is going to minus, then that path is finished, then again another plus, okay. Every time this plus minus is going to change, one time this is a plus, another time because of the both the direction of this AC current. Okay. So, but the Y type stator provides a good current output at the low engine speed. Okay, this is advantage of this Y type stator is give the good current output at low engine speed. Okay, but a delta type stator is not like the Y type because here there is a neutral junction, here is no neutral junction. But the delta type stator is used for high output alternators. So there are 6 diodes used, but at the same time only 2 diodes are working. So the diodes, that means here it's a ground diode we call, okay. That means when it's come from plus point, it use this, okay. It use these three diode. Okay. So this diode is related to battery. Okay. When it's going to after it's come like this and going to minus point, that time these three, the current flow through these three diodes. That means that is a ground diode, the minus point diode. Okay. So this is plus positive diode, this is the ground diode. So that's why here told three positive diodes are fit in the insulated frame, three negative diodes like the ground diodes are mounted into an insulated or grounded frame. Okay. So and another time, okay, this if the diodes are like this, okay, so sometimes the current comes from reverse position, okay, from battery to alternator. So okay, that current damages the alternator. So this arrangement of diode cannot allow the current inside of this alternator. Okay, that's why this diode prevent from the current flow to from battery to alternator. So the voltage regulator, I already told about the voltage regulator. Okay. So there are three types. I think two type of voltage regulator. One is contact point voltage regulator. So it's mounted away from the alternator in the engine component. So it's not a mount alternator inside. It's away from the alternator and it's mounted in the engine component. So the contact point voltage use coil set of points resistor that limited system voltage. The second one is electronic voltage regulator. So the mounted away, this also mounted away from the engine. Okay. It's a it's a sealed unit and it's not repairable. But the more commonly in our alternators, or the more commonly used this type of regulator, the integral voltage regulator. This is mounted inside the rear of the alternator. We so in the animation this kind of regulator, okay, is mounted in the alternator or inside or rear of the alternator. So this is the most common type used in the modern vehicle, and it's small, efficient, dependable, and composed of integrated circuits. Okay. So it's normally have diodes, resistors, and capacitor to regulate voltage in the system to increase alternator output. Okay. The voltage regulator allows more current into the rotor windings. Okay, that we know. In the ideal condition, when the rotor speed is low, okay, it need to allow the more current to rotor windings. To reduce alternator output. Okay, these are the things. The alternator speed and load determines whether the regulator increase or decrease the charging output. Okay, if the load is high or rotor speed is low, what will happen? The regulator sends a drop in the voltage. So the regulator then increases the rotor's magnetic field current until the preset output voltage is obtained. Okay, this increase the current to preset or maintain the output voltage. The same output voltage we have to give the more current. If the load drops or rotor speed increase, what will the opposite occurs? That means it's reduce the supply current. Okay. So these are the apparatus of our lab seat. It's practical. So procedure, there we conduct some tested, to check the alternator. So that means use care to avoid the reverse polarity. Normally when we The polarity means that direction. That means do not purposely accidentally short or ground the system when disconnecting wires. So, okay. Sometimes we have to check the wires. Sometimes the wires are going to disconnect, or that means open or ground, or shorts, any short circuits. Okay. Connecting test leads to terminal. We have to check these things. For example, if we change any terminal, so that's damage the regulator alternator. That means sometimes we can change the battery terminals different. That means the charging output is the alternator charging output is connected to the minus point of the battery. Okay, the other point is what will happen if we sometimes if we change the terminals of battery, or we can connect the wires in the wrong terminal of this alternator, what happen? Okay, the alternator going to blow or damage. So the terminals, we have to follow the instruction of the manufacturer, and we have to, when we dismantle and engage or handle the any alternator or any electrical circuit, we carefully follow the instruction. Okay. So never operate the alternator and open. Okay. The open circuit means there is no control, no resistance. Okay. So there is no battery or no electrical load. Open circuit means straightly we give the current to alternator like this. Okay. So no battery or any electric load. Okay, without load, or that means what will happen? The alternators are capable to high building of it can be normally 50 to 110 volts. Okay, if we give high voltage, what will happen? It's damage the diodes, endanger anyone, or anyone touch the terminal. Okay, it may harm the humans also. So give to check how to check the alternator. Okay, the output current. Okay, if a problem is in the charging unit, check a complete field circuit by placing. Okay, take a large screwdriver. Okay, on the alternator rear bearing surface. That means there's output terminal. Okay, rear bearing surface. You have to touch. So you have to touch in the rear bearing surface. There's an alternate. There's a screwdriver. Okay, what will happen? We can absorb the field current. Okay, the field current is complete. That means the rotor is working. Then the induced the current is induced in the stator windings. What will happen? There is a magnetic field, strong magnetic force. Okay, that's pull the screwdriver. Okay, you touch, you can feel the difference. Okay, this alternate is working or not. Okay, so that indicates the field is energized. Okay. If there is no field current, the alternator will not charge because it is excited by the voltage. Okay, because it's not charged. Okay, the alternator is give the charge to battery. There is a the field is energized. So we can put the screwdriver and we can find. So the next thing, connected voltmeter across the battery terminals. The voltage is increased with the by engine speed. Okay, that means the in the manufacturer recommend. Okay, the alternators, the manufacturers recommend. Okay, the specification. We have to check the specification of the voltage. Okay, these kind of speed have this amount of voltage is produced. Okay, with this speed, the alternator produces this amount of voltage. Okay, we can check. So the charging system is function properly. We have to check the manufacturer's or recommended specification. Should the alternator test fails, so the alternate we are going to give remove for repairs or replacement. So when you remove the alternator, we have to it's a very important thing. First, you have to disconnect the cable of the battery. Then you can remove the alternator. So here first alternator checking. This is just specific for the rotor. How to check the rotor? Okay. So you take the ohm meter. So here first we have to connect the right. So first we have to check the grounds. Okay. We have to connect the test lamp ohm meter one slip rings to rotor shaft. Okay. We have to connect the one of the slip rings. Okay. The black color grounded to check for ground. A low ohm meter reading, okay, or the otherwise the test lamp indicates that rotor windings is grounded. To check the rotor for shorts or opens, okay, connect the ohm meter, the second figure, to both slip rings. Okay. So here we have to check with the manufacturer resistance value indicates a short. Okay. A reading above the specific resistance value indicates are open. That means there's a value. The manufacturer giver there's a value. Okay. This is the ohm meter. Okay. We can calculate the measure the ohm resistance. Okay. There is a value. Okay. This is the value. Okay. The value is low. What will happen? There is a kind of resistance, but there is no. The value is okay. Below the resistance, that means there is no resistance. That means there is a resistance. There is short circuit. Okay. Short circuit. Okay. But the reading above, that means the reading is above resistance value above the manufacturer value. That means here then it's a 12, here 8. Okay, it's above the manufacturer value. What will happen? That's an open circuit. Okay, open circuit means there is a not connected. Okay, it's not a complete circle. Okay, it's open. Short circuit means there is a another line or bypass line like, okay, that's a short circuit, that's open. This is completely open, so there is not a complete circuit, so that time the resistance going to high. So here stator. So here this is a test for the stator. Okay. So we have to okay, the ohm meter's reading is low when connected between each pair of stator leads. Okay. Each pair of stator leads, that means one is neutral and there are 3 wires. So we can connect with the each pair of stator leads, then the reading is low. So what's the meaning? So the stator winding is electrically good. When the resistance is low, what will happen? The electrically good. Okay. It's a high ohm meter reading of failure of test stand connected. So that means the high resistance means that's an open circuit. Open circuit means that is not a complete circuit. So there is no grounded. Like this, okay. This is plus, somewhere this is a minus. So this must be, okay, rotate like this. But here is not going to the ground. What will happen? In the battery, for an example, only we give the plus, okay. Here the minus is not going to ground. Or what will happen? Okay, the path is not complete. Okay, that's called open. So here the resistance is high, that's open circuit, so that is are not grounded. But this is not a practical, but it is not practical to test the stator for short circuit due to the very low resistance of winding. Because how we find the short circuit? The resistance is low, is short circuit. But normally the windings are capable to, okay, low value, okay, because of the good electrically good windings, okay. So that's why normally is a low value, so we cannot concentrate or identify the short circuit because it's also low value. We cannot differentiate, okay, differentiate the different, okay. So now second is diode, okay. Connect the ohmmeter test lead to the diode lead and the other is diode case, okay. One is the diode lead, there's a diode, where the rectifier. Note the reading, then reverse the ohmmeters leads to the diode, again the note the reading. Reverse means, okay, so it is like this. The other thing is the minus point is going to the, okay, one is diode and diode, we have to change the point of the ohmmeter, okay. If the both readings are very low or very high, the diode is defective, that means fault. It's a very low and very high. That means if this is a very low, very high means, what is left? So the resistance, okay, now we check the resistance. One is both are very low, very high, because the diode, okay, the resistance, you know, the diode only one way direction, okay. So when this current is flow like this, the resistance is low. When it's going to this is a resistance, okay, the current cannot flow. So this side the resistance is high, this side this is, okay, low. So the both side, okay, we can change the both side of this ohmmeter. The one time we can get the what low value, okay, this side flow, this side the resistance is high, okay. But here each time we get the low or very high, that means each time we get the low means this side also and other side also there is no resistance, that means this diode is worn out, okay. If high, what will happen? There is any problem of this circuit because the current is cannot flow the both direction. So the one measurement is low, the another measurement is high. So there are other tests, charging system tests. So there are a lot of tests here. So first is charging system output test. Okay, here we can check about the alternator output. Okay, so we measure the current and voltage output. So then next the regulator voltages. Okay, measure the charging system voltage and the low output. Okay, so that means in the regulator is work properly, what will happen is control the current flow of the rotors. So according to that, the output of the charging current is going to give a desired value. So the charging system voltage under low output, okay. The low that means the low load condition, we have to check the system voltage. This in the low That means the voltage is, we cover the common voltage, okay. In any load condition, low or high load condition, the output voltage cannot be changed, okay. So we can check the voltage, then give the regulator, but only we cannot take that is only that's wrong with the regulator. There is any problem in the rotor or stator, okay. Also regulator bypass test. So connect, that means we can omit or we can forget the regulator and we give the supply straightly to the rotor windings, okay. Then we measure the output voltage, okay. So circuit resistances. So this is also we measure the insulated and grounded circuit of the charging system. Let's see one by one. First, the charging system. So here we use the load tester, okay. The load tester we can connect by the manufacturer instruction. Manufacturer they give the instruction where we can connect this type of load tester. So we connect the load tester across the system, okay. Then we can change the load conditions, okay. So turn the ignition switch and run the run position, note the that means amperes, okay, reading. So start the engine and highest ideal speed to test specification, okay. We can get the manufacturer give the specification, these amount of speed have, okay. The alternators give this amount of current for, okay, this amount of speed, engine speed, okay. So that is called manufacturer specifications, okay. So adjust the load. Now we adjust the load in the load tester. So until the meter reads the specific current output, okay. We need a desired current output. So until we have to adjust the load. So that time we do not let the voltage drop below the specification, normally above 12 volts, okay. We cannot so we have to at the same time we have to check the voltage and we have to correct the current. So note the ammeter reading, rotate the control knob, then we off the load, okay. Load tester, evaluate the readings, the normal readings, and when we put the load. So then we can compare the two readings of ohmmeter, first normal condition, then load condition. Then we can compare with the specification of manufacturing manual, okay. So the current output specification will depend on the size of the alternator. The normal vehicles, okay, we can use the normal light vehicles. The alternator rated of 35 amperes, okay. The larger vehicles normally the alternator rated of 40 to 80 amperes it can produce, okay. Give to battery for charging, because the larger vehicles have the heavy, the big size of that battery, okay. So that needs the charging current capacity need to increase to fulfill the battery charging conditions. So next is regulator voltage test. So the most of regulators working designed to operate between the 13.5 into 14.5 volts, okay. So here also set the load tester to correct the position of the manufacturing manual, okay. With the load control off, run the engine at 2000 rpm, okay, or specified test speed. Note the voltmeter reading and compare to the manufacturer specification, okay. Here also we have to check the manufacturer specification. When the engine at 2000 rpm, what was the manufacturer value? If the voltmeter reading is steady within the manufacturer specification, then the regulator settings is okay. That means the regulator give the regulating current flow, is regulate the current flow or voltage. So the output voltage also is regulate the input voltage or current, though output voltage or current also steady, so that the regulator is working properly. But the second condition, okay, the second reading, if the voltage reading is steady, the voltage reading is steady but too high or too low, that means, okay, the regulator is working properly but the regulator needs an adjustment, okay. The reading is not changed, okay, is steady but is low or high, so the regulator needs adjustment or replacement. But if the reading were not steady, okay, the reading is not steadying, it's changed every time, that means, okay, sometimes it's a bad wiring connection or alternator problem or the fault of the regulator, okay. So we can do the separate test to find out which is fault, okay, alternator or wiring or the regulator defects. So the further test is required. So the regulator bypass test also like that. Here we have to separate or taken out the regulator from the alternator, okay. You just think there is no regulator, that means there is a jump wire. The jump wire means, okay, the alternator, the regulator like this is the battery. The jump wire is normally the current going through the alternator. Now we give the supply to apart or after the regulator, that means the direct current, okay. So normally it's going like this, there is a jump wire, okay. The normal current flow is like this, but there is a jump wire. So it's like a straightly we give the current supply. So the selecting tap the ground. So these are the instructions. How do I told these are these here, okay. So first we have to selecting tap. We have to measure the ampere and volt, okay. Here ampere and volt battery to the ground is connected to the ground point of this alternator, okay. So we can find voltage and ampere, okay. Here voltage ampere we can find. Minus is for ground in the alternator and this is for the plus point, okay. Clear. So now these are bypass lines. Here there is a regulator. So there is a regulator, but it's going like this, it's going to after the line. So it's alternator working without alternator like that, okay. Then we take the readings, okay. So just think, okay, our alternator is a problem. What is the problem of this our alternator? That is means our alternator, okay, our alternator output current is not steady, okay, is normally it's not steady. So we check that it's a problem of regulator or other battery. So first we connect the jump wire to battery to field terminal, okay. The field terminal mean I already told the supply current to the rotor. So after the regulator. So now we measure the values. So the charging voltage and current will increase the normal levels, okay. That means now without those, okay, without regulator, so what will happen? The normally in the engine speed is, okay, we increase the engine speed, what will happen? Is normally increase in this alternator without the regulator, okay, exclude the regulator, and the alternator is, if the alternator is working properly without the regulator, okay, we forget the regulator. If the alternator is working properly, what will happen? The engine speed is load is going to high, the charging output voltage and current going to increase. Okay. Only the work of this regulator is regulate these things. Okay. So now we can get a conclusion without this regulator. Okay, this alternator is working properly. So where is the fault? The fault is in the regulator. But without regulator, surely we increase the speed or any load condition, the output charge and current will be increased, but there is no increment. That means the remain same. That means what happened is the problem is inside of the alternator, because the alternator cannot give the whatever speed. Okay, we give inside of the alternator, and the alternator cannot give the much AC current. Okay, the inside of this motor there is no different in the induced current. Okay, so that is a fault of that alternator, the rotor or stator, whatever, but not the regulator. Okay, the first is the fault is regulator, but second is not the regulator, it's a bad alternator. So the resistance tests also there. So we have checked the resistance of the line, insulator resistance test and ground circuit resistance test. So here you know how to connect this for the insulator resistance test. Okay. So the plus point is battery plus point connect with the plus point of this. Okay, this is a multimeter kind of. The one is voltage and another is ampere. Okay, so the minus point is connect with the ground point of this alternator. Sorry, the plus point is connected with the multimeter plus point is connected here plus. Okay, here minus. Sorry. That means the electron is flow. When charging, this come from here to here. Okay, we connect with the output terminal here. The another point we connected to the plus terminal of the battery. Okay, so there's an alternator connect here. The charging current is come like this. Okay, just think. So there is a voltage regulator between the between the alternator and ignition switch. Okay, so the ignition switch current is connected with here and is going to other accessories. Okay, so the path is like this when the ignition switch current is going. Okay, when the initial current, okay, I already told the initial current for the rotor is flow like this, come like this and going like this through the ignition switch, going through the regulator and go to the alternator. So now we check the reading. Okay. So the fast idle, when the ideal condition, we increase the speed, okay, of the engine, rotate the load control knob, okay. We adjust the load tester to obtain the 20 ampere current flow, okay. We check the current flow as a 20 ampere at the volt, okay, 15 volt, okay. We can, in the same time we can check the multimeter. This is not a kind of multimeter. The same time we can check both readings, okay, voltmeter and ampere, volt and ampere. So according to we change the load, okay, wherever is according to the manufacturer instruction, we can test the load test across here, okay, across wherever. That's depend on the instruction manufacturer's manual, okay. So we adjust the load tester as 20 MVA current flow and 12 volt. Okay, at the 12 volt. Okay, then we check all accessories and lights are be turned off. Read the voltmeter. Okay, first we check the voltmeter is 15. Suddenly the voltmeter is dropped. Okay, the voltmeter reading is dropped. It means a small value. That means the 0.7 voltage drop. That means 15 now 14.3. So that they told that normally the every connections have the wire. The inside of the wire there is a resistance. Okay, so the only the one connection per. Okay, normally the 0.1 volt drop in the one electrical connection. So they are here they assumes as there are 7 connections for accessories. So normally there's 0.7 voltage drop. That means in the wires have the proper resistance. Okay, but in the resistance is high. Okay, increase, what will happen? There is a more voltage drop. That means there is a 0.7 voltage drop. That means the voltage is now 15 to now 14.3. So the condition considered is a good condition. Okay, for resistance, the insulator resistance. But the voltage drop is over 0.7. Okay, what will happen? The circuit resistance is high. Clear? And poor electrical connections exist. Sometimes there is poor electrical connection. So the same as the ground test, but the different with the insulated resistance and ground resistance. Only change is the here the minus is connect with the test tab. Okay. And here also this output terminal, this is the grounded. Okay, grounded is connect here. Only that's the difference. Okay, so this is grounded resistance here. But all are same. But that same as the value, that is also the 0.1 drop per electrical connection. The both are same. Okay. So now these are the observation. Now we try to conduct the test. Okay. For the alternator, first we dismantle the alternator and we study about the parts and we do some kind of test. Okay. So if we check by using the multimeter and we note the readings of this alternator. Okay, and give the what is the status of this display. Here we can use. Okay, I think we conduct these 2 tests. Okay, that means this rotor test. Okay, first we check the slip ring. One is the slip rings, another is rotor, and check the ohm meter value. Then then we get the ohm meter value for both 2 slip rings. Okay. Next is for the both end of this stator and and next for the diodes. Okay, we get the readings. These 2 tests will be conducted. Okay, then we note down the measurement of the volts or amperes. Okay, these are your discussion. Okay, you search in the Google or book, refer the books, and you have to complete this discussion. Now let's move to the practical part. Stop. Okay, dear students, this is the alternator which we dismantled. So you can see here, this is the rotor. Okay, this is the clove pulse rotor, and this is the bush, and these are the slip rings. And here this is the armature or stator. So you can see them 3-phase winding. This is the neutral, and here there are 3 terminals, and this is the okay, this is the back cover, and this is the front bracket. And here you can see there are a lot of diodes here, total 6 number of diodes. So you can understand this is the rectifier, and here this is the regulator. You can see these are the brush. Okay, I already told these are more flexible, and one for the input or electricity supply, and next is output. Now we conduct the test for the rotor and armature coil windings. So this is the multimeter. So first I on, and we have to measure the resistance. So I put here in the 200. Okay, this is the lowest value, the resistance. Then first we check the rotor. So the rotor, we check these. Okay, slip rings. So now you can see the final value. 3 is normally come to the resistance value of 3.0. Wait, 3.0. Okay, this resistance value is 3.0 for rotor. And next we measure the 2 terminals of the stator. You can see the resistance value, right? It's normally counted 0.7 or 6 something. Okay, 0.5 the resistance value. Okay, so this is 0.5 for stator and rotor, you know already. So you have to mark down this measurement in your observation sheet.